This isn't good conversation. we can cut this.
No, it's not.
Okay, folks. If you know what patina is, comment below.
That's gotta go. That's actually not patina. It's too much.
Honestly, fuck, that's good. Do we feel good about that closing, or?
The closing you just did? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I completely agree.
It was totally weird. Welcome back to another episode of How to Survive a Scandal.
We're gonna have to make this short because I'm on vocal rest.
Okay. Well, it's actually my pleasure. I'm looking forward to keeping it short. To start us off, what are your peak and pit of the week? Or more appropriately, what are your peak and ick of the week?
My peak and ick, well, definitely my ick of the week is that I've been on my deathbed. I got very ill.
Thanks.
And I'm really paying the price for all the running around and the partying. I have to say, surprise pop out was the BNI gala. Honestly,
Totally,
might be my peak.
totally sensational event.
It was so much fun. That was honestly probably the highlight of me because so much fun. What was your peak and what was your ick?
Thank you for asking. My peak would be, the gala was a huge highlight, I must say. But also, Luke and I have been doing some planning for our trip, which I'm really looking forward to and I'm really getting excited about. We're planning on going to Thailand in October.
Very glamorous.
Also, 3 peaks is too much. I get that. But I have to say that the weather has been amazing and I've been going absolutely crazy shopping. I cannot stop shopping for patio stuff. So I've totally I am like furniture and just like cute stuff. And I'm totally like going for it. I have to get a rug, like a side table, some chairs,
Do you
some
actually,
lights.
hang out in your patio?
No, because I didn't have any chairs and rugs and lights and side tables.
Right, really good point.
Now that I do. Also, my ick of the week is that I am teething. My wisdom teeth are they've never come through, folks. And off and on over the years, they sometimes every couple of years they give me some problems. This time it's bad. So bad, in fact, that I booked an appointment with the dentist. And I have not been to the dentist in, well, I don't want to say how long.
Oh my God. When was the last time you actually went to the dentist?
I don't want to say.
Like 10 years? More.
I don't want to say.
20?
Tommy, you need to respect. You need to respect my boundaries on this.
I'm so sorry. I will.
It's worse than you can imagine, is what I'll say.
That's crazy.
And because of the teething, I've developed like a lisp. Like I can't talk properly, and I can't eat properly, and it's just been tough.
It kind of feels fun because you kind of get to try on like a bit of a new personality.
Yeah,
it's like when I wear whitening strips and I feel like I have Invisalign.
That I don't get the draw, but more power to you. So that would be my ick of the week. Also, another ick.
Yeah,
I have to share. Another ick was this past weekend getting my feelings hurt. I got my feelings hurt this weekend, and
new hater unlocked.
No, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. What I want to say is this. You know when you like put on an outfit? I mean, this is a bad example because couldn't be me. But you put on an outfit and like halfway through the day, you're like, I hate this outfit. This is like so ugly.
Yeah.
You're like, this outfit's so ugly. And like, say I put on this outfit, I think it's so ugly. And then I'm like, Tommy probably thinks this outfit is so ugly.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, I know Tommy thinks this outfit is ugly. And I think this outfit is ugly. Like, we can all agree this outfit is bad.
Right.
But then it'd be like if somebody would be like, ask Tommy if she thinks your outfit's ugly. And I'm like, no, I don't want to ask. Like, I know she thinks my outfit's ugly. Why would I put myself in that position?
Right.
And then they force me to ask ask you if you think my outfit's ugly. And then I ask you and you're like, yeah, that outfit's ugly. It's like, that hurts my feelings now. Yeah. Even though it didn't hurt my feelings knowing that you felt that way. It just hurt my feelings to get that confirmed.
Could be a real gut punch.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so let's say something that nature occurred this weekend between you and I and other parties who shall remain nameless to protect their anonymity. And it just hurt my feelings because having it said, I was like, listen, the reality is fine. I accept the reality. I understand the reality. To have it said out loud, I just thought we don't have to talk about the outfit.
No, I completely get it. And this is so tricky because this is a real strong hypothetical that I can imagine. It's hard to find the relevance if we're not talking about an outfit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What did the, ultimately the gut punch of hearing confirmation that somebody doesn't like your outfit?
Yeah.
In the context of this, where did the gut punch land? What did it say? Did it say, I don't like you? Did it say, I think you're weird? Did it say,
You're a loser.
Where did the gut punch land?
Here's where the gut punch landed. It was like, you can't sit with us,
Yeah.
Your outfit's ugly, you can't sit with us.
Your outfit.
Your outfit is so
outfit's
ugly that you cannot sit with us.
And I don't want you to play with us.
And I don't want you to play with me.
Because
and
your outfit's ugly.
Because of how ugly your outfit is. And
Okay.
that's where it landed.
That sounds very hurtful.
Yes, it was. It hurt my feelings. And again, what was so hurtful about it was not the reality that you didn't like my outfit. And that you didn't want to play with me. That's fine.
Right.
I actually
It's the
accept
fact that you had to hear
It's
somebody
just
talk about how
I
they
don't want
didn't
to hear
your
someone
outfit
tell
and
me
they
that
didn't let you
my
say them.
outfit's bad and I can't sit with them.
That sounds really
hurts
hurtful.
my feelings. However, I will say, given the fact that I also thought the outfit was ugly and that I knew that they thought the outfit was ugly, I no ill will for the feelings about the outfit. Truly, it's just that it just got my feelings hurt. That's all.
That sounds really challenging.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll wear the outfit again?
Why would I? If it's ugly, it's ugly. That's all there is to it.
Okay, that's really tricky. I know that sounds really, really hard, and that was your ick, I imagine, for the week.
Yeah, that was definitely my ick. The big one.
I have some local gossip.
Oh.
I think it's important for me to share. And this one actually came from a listener. And
How exciting.
so, first of all, and actually, this listener also gave me some feedback that kind of pissed me off. Shout out Derek. First of all, I'm going to talk about why you
Heyo.
pissed me off. Derek was like, so, all I would say, first of all, Derek, long-time listener, and we love you. Thank you for listening, Derek. But he was like, yeah, just like when you're breaking down a scandal that like for example, the Summer House scandal, and that like we don't know about, just like let Grace do the recaps because she's very concise and she really captures it all, and you're like all over the place. And I was like, first of all,
That is
Derek,
the best piece of feedback
I
I've
was like,
ever heard.
you might be so full of shit that like it's actually insane. So that was
That's great news.
That was
I love
crazy
hearing that
piece of
feedback.
that pissed me right off.
And let me just say, if you,
not even
the
true.
listener at home, also feel this way, just go ahead and comment below if you think that Grace gives good, concise
Oh, I also want
recaps.
to say, I think that when we continue to say comment below, I think we are giving the impression that like we really expect people to comment on every episode, like on like the Spotify episodes.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to clear that up. I love a comment, and I
Hell
really
yeah.
welcome that engagement, and please do. But I don't want anyone to feel bad that like we're consistently saying comment below and they're not commenting.
Do you think
I
people
want
feel bad
folks to
about that?
understand it's a joke.
I think they understand it's a joke. But on the off chance you don't think it's a joke, I'll say two things. One, I appreciate you. I appreciate your commitment. I appreciate your comments. We appreciate your comments. Keep them coming. If you enjoy commenting, we love that. If you feel pressure to comment, we just want to be
love
so
that as
clear
well.
that we
Comment
there
below.
there are no expectations. But yeah, comment below to like let us know if you've been thinking that we're serious or if it's a joke. Okay.
Okay, so back to shout out Derek. So yeah, anyway, Derek, we love you. Keep listening, and please, for the love of God, comment below. Okay, so Derek provided us with some gossip, some local gossip. And basically, I'm not going to name names.
How exciting.
Okay, I'm not going to name any names. In fact, let's cut Derek. As of now, we're censoring every time I say Derek. Just kidding. I just think censors are funny. So,
And speaking of censors, I do want to say I've heard feedback. I've heard tell that last week's episode, or maybe 2 weeks ago, the censorship that I have to take full accountability for that. Apparently, it really distracted some folks while driving. Really hurt
loud,
people's
really harsh,
ears. Really harsh, really
unexpected.
intense. And I want to apologize. I fucked up, and I'm going to work on it. I'm really
taking
sorry.
accountability.
Yeah.
And stay safe out there on those roads, you guys.
Yeah, please, for the love of God. We would hate to hear that we caused an incident.
Okay, so there is a restaurant on 17th Ave, and essentially there was the GM at that restaurant, the general manager, was recently separated. Okay.
Okay.
And about 6 months after their separation, they started hooking up with a supervisor
Okay.
at the restaurant. Okay.
Okay.
And this is the GM. The age gap between them. So the GM is 36.
Okay.
Okay. And they're hooking up with a supervisor. There's a 13-year age gap.
Okay.
So we're talking 23.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the restaurant industry in the city and like in that area is, of course, all very like incestual. Everyone's kind of hooking up with everyone. But there's a few different layers here. Obviously, I don't care the fact that it's like 6 months post separation. That's like just like tea if you know the person. But
Yeah.
like I don't know this person, so like I don't really care about that. But it's a GM hooking up with a supervisor. So I imagine the GM is that person's supervisor. And the age gap. And it's weird because age gaps have been coming up a lot lately. I was going to ask you a while ago if you're watching The Age of Attraction, which I'm not. But I feel like I've been thinking a lot about age gaps, and I keep asking people like, what's your philosophy on an age gap? Just point blank period. Do you think age is just a number? All of those things. And but anyway, so over to you. What's your thoughts on this particular setup, this arrangement, and what are your thoughts on an age gap? What are your philosophies? What are the do's and don'ts? What do you look for?
Okay, so yeah, I think it's like, from what I understand, from what I hear, the restaurant industry can be pretty like skeezy in terms of like the HR of it all. Just doesn't seem like there's a lot of that. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of like protection for people, especially like people who might be vulnerable. So I just never loved the idea of somebody dating someone that works for them. I think that is a problem. And like, I'm not saying not every situation is the same. So like there are situations where sure, whatever. But I just think in general, I'm always going to side eye that a little bit. And then age gaps, I certainly, an age gap like that in the context of being somebody's boss, I think is a problem. Like that adds another layer of like a weird power imbalance. And I think age gaps in general, I don't like them. I mean, it's funny because like me and Luke have an age gap, and I kind of forget that actually.
How many years?
5, which like maybe isn't quite getting to like age gap.
Age gap.
Yeah,
I mean,
but isn't it kind of, there's something kind of scandalous about it when the woman is older,
yes,
and that like creates an age gap that like if it were the other way around, you wouldn't call that an age gap.
Agreed. Yes, because you're the older one, then it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something salacious about it.
Yeah.
Which is something I'll have to unpack. But yeah, I don't like an age gap where the man is like 10 years or older. I just don't like it.
Regardless of the age of the people. Like your friend.
Oh, no.
Like your friend's 30 and she comes to you and she's like, I met this guy, he's 46.
Like, honestly, that I do have questions about that. Like, to me, it's not that I think it's like fucked up, but I do, like, it makes me feel a way. Like 30 and 46, I'm like,
what about 30 and 40?
pick on someone your own size. 30 and 40, less so. Yeah, that feels like 10 years feels fine to me. If you're like 65 and 50, that's less weird.
Right. Yeah, I feel like my rule of thumb is under 25, it's like you're allowed to have a serious problem with it. Like you're allowed to be like, no. Yeah. you're allowed to put your foot down. Like if somebody's 23 and 36, I'm like pretemporal lobe, all of that. Temporal lobe, whatever.
Frontal lobe, I think.
That's weird. I'm like, I think that's weird. Beyond that, you can ask some questions for sure. And then I always just think it's really weird when there's like a really dramatic, like financial imbalance that is like, obviously sometimes there could be a dramatic financial imbalance. That's fine. But when it's like indicative of the age and like the place you are in life. We're talking about
Right.
this, like, if somebody's had their whole life to like build their finances and build their career and they're 45 and somebody's just starting out and they're 25. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that is weird. Like,
Yeah.
that creates such a strong power imbalance that's
Yeah.
kind of akin to if this was your employee.
Yeah.
And like makes it really difficult.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like relationships come in all different shapes and sizes, but I think like in an ideal world, at least in my mind, they're like some version of an equal partnership. That's what you want them to be. And I think it's hard to be that way when you have so much more life experience on someone and so much more financial stability, and just all of that feels like it just feels like less of an equal partnership. It feels like it can't help but be not. That's juicy though. That's exciting.
Yeah,
Keep it coming. That's what I
I
say.
agree. Do you have any
That's
local
amazing.
gossip?
I mean, my peak and pit. My pit was kind of my local gossip. Speaking of age gaps, it made me think of. Can we talk about the ick? I want to talk about the ick. So you were talking about age gaps, and I was thinking about celebrities that give you the ick. And Leonardo DiCaprio gives me the ick because of his age gap situation, because he's always dating 25-year-olds. And that gives me, like, to me, I'm like, that says something about you. Sorry.
Reflects something is underdeveloped. Like, to me,
Yeah.
I'm like, something isn't working there. If you can't find companionship among
Right.
your peers,
Right.
that tells a pretty chilling picture
Yeah.
about who you are
Yeah.
and where you're at.
Yeah. And I, like, obviously, I'm sure he has, like, very compelling reasons. But, like, there's no getting around it for me. That I'm like, that's weird. Especially if it's, like, so consistent. You know?
Yeah, that is weird.
You meet someone and you fall in love and, like, whatever, fine. But, like, if it's like you don't date anyone over a certain age, that's weird.
Is that actually true, or is it just that he's known
I'm
to have
sure.
young girlfriends? Or like,
I'm sure.
has he had a girlfriend like in their 40s? How old is he? In his 40s or?
Yeah, I guess he's in his 50s probably, or late 40s. I have no idea if he has or not dated someone, but I can't ever recall in recent years, seeing him with someone like close to his own age. I feel like his girlfriends are always 25, early 20s.
Yeah, that's really rough.
Just weird. Okay, but yeah, are there any other celebrities that give you the ick, actually?
What's his face from the Valley makes me feel so desperately.
Jesse?
No, the other one. I mean, I don't like any of them. I find them all deeply unlikable. Danny.
Creep?
Danny.
He really gives me the ick.
And even before
He gives me the total
he
ick.
gives me the deepest ick.
Yeah.
And like I just and I think the difference between someone you do not like and someone who gives you the ick is your body feels it. Yes. You feel it inside.
Yes.
And I'm like, I do not like Jesse, my God.
Yeah.
But I feel that my body responds to it. It's trying to send me a message every time he comes on my screen.
Yeah, he is not safe for me personally. Just I don't mean that as a remark on any allegations floating around about him.
And they are just allegations.
Allegedly. Everything is alleged.
Have you survived the ick? Have you had an experience where you're like, I have the ick, and have you come back from it?
Thank you for asking. Like, first, let's define the ick. Okay, let's start there. So, what is the ick to you? How would you
It's
define
not what it is to me, it's what it is to everyone. Okay.
Oh,
So this is what the ick
there's
is.
a global definition.
The ick is, let me take a second. Let me take a second to think about this.
It's important.
The ick is, which is why sometimes I don't love taking it out of context of someone you've ever, like, for example, me saying Danny gives me the ick. Like, yes, he gives me the ick. In some ways, it's wrong because I'm referring to him as this person that I've never been drawn to romantically in any way. But I think it works because we are watching him in a romantic context. I think that's why we can answer that. We can say Danny gives us the ick. If we weren't, I would almost say we can't say that because I think that the ick is like a romantic repulsion. I think it is something that shows up and repels you from someone in a very particular type of way, I was going to say emotional, but I do think in a kind of romantic way.
Yeah.
And so if you've never seen somebody, like, you wouldn't be like, oh, like, my boss gives me the ick. If he was just a man that you, like, never saw that way and you just didn't like him, like, you would just be like, I don't like him.
Yeah.
I really think there has to be some sort of romantic socialization. It doesn't mean that you had to have had a crush on them, but you have had to have engaged with them in some sort of romantic or like sexual,
even just like imagined.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like romantic socialization. Like you could have literally thought about something or like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like you do not have to have been into them or had a crush on them or had a thing with them. You could be, again, like watching them in a romantic way, like with their partner, or had a thought or whatever, like had a dream. It could be anything. But they have to have been socialized to you in some way in that sphere. And then I think the ick is, I would categorize it as romantic repulsion.
That's a really good summary.
Thank you.
I think the definition can extend a little bit. I think it can get a little broader, but I think it's a good place to start.
I was going to say, don't you dare say good start. That's so annoying. What do you think the ick is?
I want to talk about this as we kind of proceed to the ick conversation, because I do think that
You're like, my answer is going to blow your fucking socks off.
It's going to blow your mind. It's a surprise. No, I think that the ick can show up in some weird places sometimes. And you're like, how did this get here? But the one thing I was going to ask about is an ick versus the ick.
Yeah.
And so your theory is that having an ick is very different from having the ick.
Yes.
And that presumably the ick is very hard to survive, but an ick, we come back from that every day.
And I will say one thing about the ick is, like, it can grow. Like, sometimes I've felt the ick coming on, and I've done my best to save it off.
When that shit starts.
Yeah, it's really scary when that happened to me. I was like,
We
I
are
just
all
have to make it through
powerless.
the summer. I just have, or like one time sometimes you have a fucking trip planned, and it is coming, and you can feel it coming, and you're like, just hold off 2 more weeks, please, in the name of Jesus. But then when it shows up, it just shows up, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that has absolutely happened to me. I don't think it like hits you strong. Sometimes it grows and develops, and you can feel it coming. But once it hits the pinnacle, you're done. You're done.
And when you say you're done, you mean like the relationship's over?
I mean that you are repulsed by that person. And you can remain in a relationship, but you're not getting your attraction to them back.
Oh, that's really interesting. Okay. There's so much to discuss
Now let
here,
me
but
talk
let's
about
go back to an ick. Yeah.
I think an ick are moments of, like they're honestly like little moments of repulsion, I think, of romantic repulsion. But I would describe them and their impact as just like little scratches, and they're just a little scratch, and it heals right up. Or it might not even like, it might be a scratch that you can literally just like wipe off. Like it's just kind of gone. The ick is a rupture, I want to make that very clear. It comes in and it tears through your sense and your perspective of that person. And that's why I feel that you cannot survive it. An ick is certainly like these little moments of romantic repulsion that are kind of like, little scratches, little maybe a tear, but not even. That feels dramatic. I would say like a little scratch. But the ick is a total annihilation and a total rupture.
That's interesting, because I think an ick is the ick, but it's just small, and it doesn't, I agree with you, but I don't see them as distinct things. I think it's all the same thing. I think an ick is just like a mini version of it.
Yeah, certainly.
And I think that the ick is pretty all-consuming.
Yes.
But I think it can be temporary.
I also think what's important is that an ick is often contextual. Like it's like something happened in this situation and you repulse me right now. Or like something happened in this situation and But the ick, once you notice it, it shows up in every single area, in every single category.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Cross-departmental.
I agree with you on that for sure. But I kind of think that an ick gives you the ick just in that moment. And then you're like, okay, we're out of that situation, or the time has passed, we're over it.
No.
That's my experience. When somebody does something that's an ick, I'm like, I have the ick. Like, the ick is here.
You've never had the ick, clearly. If you think
If
it's something you can just wake up and bounce back
I
from,
have never had the ick. You need to apologize
you're telling
publicly
me
to
you
me
had
right
the
now.
ick and then you just slept it off. Like, if you're telling me
That's
that,
not what
then
I'm
you never had
saying.
the
That's not what
ick.
I'm saying. I'm saying the ick can be temporary and it can be very long term. It's the same thing. It revs up in intensity and it revs up in duration. It's all the same thing.
Can you
though.
tell me of a time where you survived the ick, where you came back from it?
I've been surviving the ick ever since I've been out in these streets.
And you're telling me you recovered in the sense that you were able to find attraction for that person again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think now, okay, to your point, like in the moments when I'm like, ooh, this is an ick, I'm not necessarily being like, I have the ick big time. Like that's not necessarily how I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking like, that's an ick. But I'm saying it to describe it in this conversation that is the ick. It's just a small scale version of it.
Right, sure. It's
that feeling of like romantic repulsion. Like in that
100%.
moment.
And that's why I'm saying an ick is romantic repulsion. It's the same thing.
Right. And so I'm saying
It's just,
an ick gives you the ick in that moment.
yeah.
I don't want to distinguish from the ick you feel in a moment to the capital T, capital I ick.
Completely
that
agree.
You're like, I have the ick off you.
Completely agree.
You know what I mean?
And that's why I think like an ick is romantic repulsion. It is a sort of monodepartmental ick, the ick. And when you have the ick TM, it is org wide.
Yes.
But yes, you are right. They are made of the same stuff.
But I guess
it is the same thing. What we are talking about is the depth and breadth of its impact.
And here's why I think this is important. I think this is an important message to spread. Okay. I think the ick is a spectrum. And I think the ick TM, capital T, capital I, is, yes, very difficult to come back from. But I also think we don't talk enough about the little icks in between along the way. Mm-hmm. And I think those can be more than just like, oh my God, like, you know, my boyfriend fell off a treadmill or something like that.
Grace,
like,
I want to tell the listeners at home. For the folks at home.
I was going to ask you.
You have, what?
I was going to ask you what the icks you've experienced
And
recently.
I will be honest. This was an ick. And it was one that in the moment I said, can I survive this? Can I come back from this? Why don't you finish what you're going to say and then I'll come back to this story.
Okay, yeah. So I'm talking about, I think it's important to talk about the fact that there are moments that's like, oh, that's an ick, like something low key. You know, like that's an ick, but like whatever. That's like, I would call that like, yeah, I have the ick for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But then there are also like a little bit more long lasting icks and stronger icks that happen in relationships, but that are not forever, that they don't have to be forever. And sometimes it's like, right now, my boyfriend's giving me the ick. Like, right now, I don't find you funny. I don't find you cute. I find you kind of annoying. You're giving me the ick. Like, and that can last for weeks sometimes. And I think you can survive that. And I think that to say, like, when you have the ick, like, that's it, you're done. I'm like, no, I think that there are smaller versions of that. I think, you know, like, when your relationship is a shorter relationship or when you've just met someone, like, whatever, maybe you're looking at it like, I have the ick and I just have no interest in going back. Fair enough. But I think a lot of long-term relationships, the ick is real.
Okay, I think that's a fair point, and I don't want to be too litigious about this, but I'm wondering if there's a difference between like you're giving me the ick and like I have the ick, or I got the ick, or they gave me the ick. Because one is almost like a bit of an ongoing fluid experience. It's almost like when you're like, oh, I'm getting sick. And you haven't resigned yourself to it. When you're like, I'm sick. I mean, for me, it takes me like 5 days. I'm always fighting
Yeah.
at me like this isn't happening.
Yeah.
And then when you're like, I'm sick, you are really surrendering yourself to something.
But I think that, and I hear you, I think that difference is a little bit of an illusion. I think it's
Agreed.
how
It's
it's your narrative because you don't want to say I have the ick. In my view, you have the ick. You're just not saying it.
I have never gotten to that point where I'm like, I have the ick, and I was able to regain attraction to the person.
I disagree with you. I can tell you right now of a time where you had the ick.
Oh.
And I don't want anyone to think it's about them when it's not. But
No, for sure.
But you've definitely had the ick and stuck around. And like you regain attraction. Like it's not, and that's the other thing too. It's like attraction is not this like constant. I mean, for some people,
Don't worry,
it is,
baby.
but.
This isn't about you. Okay, I see what you're saying. That's different.
Why?
It's different. I actually think that, okay, I'm going to get a lot of shit for this. I am. I'm going to take it. I actually think that the ick has, like, its relevance has an expiry in terms of, like, relationship duration.
Oh, interesting.
I kind of feel like if you're together for a really long time, what is happening is something else. I wouldn't necessarily call that the ick. And I'm not saying that there can't be romantic repulsion that takes place and all that, for sure, 100%. I think that language is actually very apt for like what might show up in a lot of like really long-term relationships or like whatever. If you have kids with like, there's just so many different things that could happen. But I do think the ick refers to something else because it's not like, of course it's logical, but it doesn't always have to be logical. And it is more of sometimes I find the ick can be about like chemistry and almost about pheromones. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not always exactly like that behavior did not line up with the behavior I want to see or the behavior I expect from like it's not about that. And so I do feel like the early days in a relationship, that's, if you think about it, like that's when the ick really shows up, and that's when it's like, oh shoot, I got the ick. Now what do I do? It's like you've been dating someone for like 5 months and you're like, I got the ick. There's nothing I can really do about it. To me, if you're dating someone for like 3 years, you're not really getting the ick in the same way that I'm kind of talking about it right now. Do you know what I mean?
I actually do know what you mean, but yeah, I don't think I agree, but I know what you mean. And I think you're onto something. There's something to be said
and
about
I want to
that.
sit down with this framework and massage it a little bit. I think I could articulate it better, but I do think that there is something intangible about the ick that really speaks towards just like compatibility and chemistry and just like, does my body want to be around that person's body?
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Like, I bet you that is. I'd love to read a dissertation on the ick. You know what I mean? Like, I'd love someone to really get in the weeds on it because I think it's really layered and complicated.
I should write one. Who do you think is better positioned with background, experience, education, all of that to write a dissertation on the ick? You or me?
Oh, great question.
I did take that one course in linguistic anthropology, and I think that would be pretty useful here, actually.
What does it have to do with this?
I wouldn't have the time to explain it to you. You clearly don't get
Okay.
it.
I'd say me.
Why? Because you think like social sciences?
Yeah, but I think there's like, cause I also think there's like a somatic element to it that.
I literally just said linguistic anthropology, and you were like, what does that have to do with it? And then you talk about semantics. Are you kidding?
I said somatic.
Oh, somatic.
Fucking like
My bad. And I want to take accountability. Somatic. That's a really, really great way to put it. What do you know
That's
about?
so good.
What do you know about?
I think, Yeah, no, it's a great question. And honestly, I'm sure we'd both write really great dissertations.
If anyone has studied this or knows someone who has studied this, please
Yeah,
comment
please.
below.
Please comment below. What I wanted to say, though, about what you were saying, okay, after a certain period of time, it's not really the ick. I get what you're saying, and there is something to that. But I also think that, like, I guess I just think there's probably different versions of the ick.
Yeah, perhaps.
And I think there's, like, this sort of, like, new stage. I think there's, like, the new stage getting to know somebody, and that the ick that brings on. And then there's the, like, further in relationship romantic repulsion ick that I would consider part of the ick. I think the ick is really connected to, like, anxiety. I think the ick is a type of anxiety.
What?
Yeah. I think it's like a type of, like, I don't feel safe here. Like, I don't feel at rest here. You know, when you, like, liked someone and when you were younger, and then maybe it seemed like they might want to talk to you, and then you just got spooked.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a version of the ick too,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And they're like my control. And I was saying, I specifically, like, my shtick was like, I loved going for, like, older guys who, by going for, I mean, like, having a crush on older guys who were socially awkward and, like, weren't particularly, like, conventionally attractive, or, like, didn't have a lot of, yeah. And I loved that because I could, like, stake my claim and say I have a crush on them. Then I would always tell everyone I had a crush on them, and I never cared if it got back to them. In fact, I was kind of hoping it did. Mm-hmm. And then it made them uncomfortable because I was, like, much younger than them, and then they were always like, I don't really get what's going on here. And I felt like I had so much power and so much control, and I really did, kind of, because I was like, I can kind of do whatever I want here. And then the couple times when I feel like it did almost always turn around where they ended up kind of being like, well, what's this? And the immediate repulsion I felt, I was just always just like, you're disgusting to me.
Yeah.
And I was like,
you're
I'm
like
13.
I'm a child. That's terrifying. I can think of
this was fun because I had control, and I don't know what this is anymore, and I'm bored by it.
Yeah. No, and I can think of experiences like liking someone who was, like, not much older than me or socially awkward, or, like, it was none of that. It was just, like, someone that I genuinely had a crush on, and then the minute they started giving me a type of attention, it was like, ick. Like, there's, like, that whole, like, I don't want to be a part of a club that would have me in it vibe, but I felt like this was, like, a little bit different, where it was like, I'm actually, like, disgusted by you. Like, not, and I don't even know you like that. It's not like we started dating and, like, I'm like, ugh, I don't, self-sabotaging or whatever. It's, like, genuinely, like, you're freaking me out. Like, So that's funny. But the one thing I was going to ask you, though, and this is where I'm like, I do think our definitions may differ, is I kind of feel like I've had the ick with a friend before.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So I was going to ask you, have you ever had a friendship ick?
How would you describe that friendship ick?
It's almost like the feeling of when you just start finding everything they do annoying, but it's beyond annoying. It's kind of like there's nothing, like, that feeling when you're like, I don't want you to play with me. Like, I don't want you to be around me. Yeah. Like, I'm kind of uncomfortable.
Here's what I would ask. Was there anything about the nature of that relationship that was romantic? And, like, obviously an expansive definition of romantic. A whimsical intimacy. That might be it.
I think I've had a lot of intimacy with all my friends. So that's honestly, but I don't know about the whimsical part. But, like, I think there's a lot of intimacy in my relationships.
So it might be similar. It might be a similar, like, romantic repulsion. I think.
I don't know.
Because think about friends that you, like, hung out with or whatever, and then didn't really, like, maybe never really liked them that much, but for whatever reason you were in a relationship with them, and when that relationship ended, or when you just decided, I don't want to do this anymore, and every time you heard from them, you were just so like, ugh. I feel like there's a difference between just, like, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to be your friend, and, like, you're giving me the ick. Like, my body is responding to you. My body wants to be away from you. And I feel like the difference is probably the degree of intimacy that was had with that person in the first place.
I agree with you, but I just don't think that's romantic necessarily.
And again, this is what I'm saying, like, I am inviting you to adopt an expansive definition of romantic because I'm trying to. I really want this to work, and I really want this
I see
definition
that.
to work, and I really want these to bring this. I really want this to come together as one.
Yeah.
I don't love the idea of separating like a romantic ick and a friendship ick, and because I
but
think
I don't think
ultimately
they are
it is
separate.
the same thing.
I agree. That's
Yeah.
what I'm. That's my point. That's why I'm seeing like, I think that the definition of the ick is expansive. I just don't think romance is the thing that brings it all together.
Okay, so bring in your big beautiful definition.
I
That's gonna
don't
blow
actually
my
have a big
mind.
beautiful definition, but I just
think it's like an
know the
anxiety
wrong answer when I see it.
It's an anxiety induced.
Yeah, I think it's connected to an anxious response, or maybe anxiety is not the best way. Maybe it's just like the somatic. It's like a somatic response to an expectation of intimacy.
That you do no longer want.
No, I guess I'm like, it's
Because
a
you
somatic
find the
response to an
person ugly
expectation
or
of
weird.
intimacy, interacting with some type of repulsion.
That's pretty good. Write that down. You know, mine's obviously sharper, but
Yours is
rework
good.
it. Shall I tell the story about when my date fell off a treadmill?
Your date?
Am
Absolutely.
I revealing their identity?
That's up to you. That's between you and God.
I think you'd be okay with that. Well, we'll see. I'll tell the story and then we'll see if I reveal the identity or not. But
Yeah.
one time it was early days. I was seeing somebody and it was a couple months in. It's pretty early. And we were at the gym. And I know what you're going to say. Why would you go out for a gym on a date? Whatever. It doesn't matter. And honestly, I think it was his idea. And this is why. We were training for a half marathon together.
Who could it be?
Anyway, I'm in a row behind. I'm on the stairs behind him, and he's on the treadmill doing a bit of a warm up. And I'm on the stairs, and he's running, whatever. I'm not watching him. I'm like watching the TV, and all of a sudden, I hear like a screech. Like imagine the beginning of Get Your Head in the Game with the basketball, like it sounded like basketball shoes like screeching on like a court or something. And I was like, it was very, very loud. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what did somebody do? Like how embarrassing. And like, this is such a full gym. This is a very big gym. Just grateful that it couldn't possibly be the person that I'm here with. And I look up and the man that I have come to the gym with has fallen off the treadmill.
Oh no.
And I think it's important to note, that this wasn't like a, face plant. No body parts hit the floor.
That is important.
It's important. It was a misstep of the footing.
Sure.
He ended up off the treadmill and
Happens
on
to the
floor,
best of
but
us.
remained standing.
Good.
And perhaps I think I want to remember like almost a bit of a pirouette, just kind of getting
Beautiful.
in place, and then got back on the treadmill. Just got right back on the horse. No hesitation.
That's awesome.
And the way I immediately just kind of looked down, looked at my feet, and was like, that never happened. I never saw it. And in that moment, I was like, I'm not mature enough for this. I'm not mature enough for a relationship. And I was just like, I don't know if I can recover from this. This is so embarrassing to me. And I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to be with this person again. But it was humiliating. And then I finished my thing and I was like stretching, and then he came over to stretch and immediately was like, oh my God, like, did you see that? Because it was very loud. And I was like, no, I'm not sure what you're talking about. And he's like, yeah, that was crazy. Like the treadmill, like, I'm surprised you didn't hear it. Like, it was super loud. And I'm not proud of what I did next. I lied. I totally lied through my teeth. And I was like, oh my God, no, like I did not hear it. You know what was probably happening? I was like watching the TV, and I was like, I do this thing where like I get super like focused,
dial
and
the
watching
fuck
TV
in.
with no sound, and made up this whole
That's hilarious.
thing.
You
I
didn't
was
even
like,
have
I
headphones.
actually have a neurological. Anyway, so yeah, I totally lied about it, and then later that night, I was like curious. I did ask him. I was like, oh, if you were on a first date with someone and you saw them do something really embarrassing, would you tell them? And he was like, no, I wouldn't. But like, if they brought it up, I would certainly be like, oh yeah, I saw. And I was like, oh. And then in that moment, I felt crazy because I was like, okay, I've officially done the wrong thing. That would have been my moment to come clean, but I didn't. It still felt
Didn't you
too
proceed
fresh.
to lie for like 2 more months?
No, it still felt too fresh. And I knew, like, that was on me. I knew, I was like, I'm so immature. But I was just like, I cannot handle this. I cannot handle this. It felt like a weight too great to bear. And yeah, that was certainly like a very powerful ick. But I was just like, what do I do? I really want to be with this person.
Yeah.
I love this person.
Yeah.
So what do I do?
And that's when love overcomes.
That's when love overcomes. And
ick.
so for anyone wondering how the story ends, it ends really well. He is the love of my life. We are getting married. We're having 2 kids. No. But yeah, everything ended up really, really well. And that was an ick that was quite potent in the
But
moment.
not the ick.
But it was not
would
the
say.
ick. It was not the ick. Yeah.
So you definitely survived an ick,
I survived
not
the ick.
the
And
ick.
I have never survived the ick. Based on what I understand, based on my definition of the ick, I believe I have never survived the ick. And to be honest, like, I really want to stake my claim and die on the hill that I do not think you can survive the ick. I don't want to die on that hill, actually.
I mean, that's fair enough.
that
I
is
do
my
think we're
opinion.
defining it slightly differently. Like, I feel like your the ick is like the end. It's like it is being like I don't like someone. You can't like
it is.
stop not like. I mean, you can, but like if you decide that you don't like a person's character, you're probably not going to come back from that. And I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
could
you
certainly
are
try.
seeing it similarly.
Yes, like, I
whereas
think
I'm
it's-
seeing it as a little bit more
And
transient.
I feel like I am very much seeing it as like your body sending you a powerful message of like, I don't like this person. So I'm like, you can certainly try, but like that will never go away. You will always just not, your body will always not like that person.
Yeah.
And I think you're describing it as sort of almost a collection of icks that can like
Yeah. Yeah.
expand or
range
minimize
and
in magnitude and and
certainly if
range.
somebody says to me, I got the ick, and it's in a context where that means there was no coming back, I understand that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I'm like, oh, she got the ick and that was it. Like that makes sense to me. I just don't think that's always the nature of it.
Yeah.
The one final thing about the ick I wanted to say. What is something you do that gives you the ick?
There's something I do that gives me the ick.
And based on your definition, maybe you can't get the ick from yourself, but
I don't think you can get the ick from yourself.
wow. Okay, what's something that you do that if you were in a relationship with you or you were dating you would give you the ick?
Yeah. I actually think when other icks are brewing, snoring can be a big ick. Mm-hmm. It can really exacerbate other icks and piss you
That's
off.
a good one.
So that might be one. But I've been told my snoring is adorable.
That's
about you?
beautiful. Eating, I eat beautifully, like a princess. But sometimes I'll like eat and I'll be like, why am I so messy? Like, why is there a mess? Like, where are there crumbs? You know what I mean? Like, I'm an adult, and there's no reason for crumbs.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
And that's a real ick. So sometimes I'll just catch myself in moments being like, this is not cool.
And does it give your, and do you get the ick from yourself?
Kind of, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I'm not like grossed out by myself, but I am sort of like, oh, stop it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, ugh.
You're just like,
annoying.
somatically, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. I'm just like, get away from yourself. Get yourself together. I don't like that about myself.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear it.
Yeah. So that's all on the ick. I do think there may need to be a part 2, or at least revisiting some of these topics as they apply to future incidents.
I think this is really important. I think that this has to be an ongoing conversation.
Absolutely.
Because I do think we as the collective need to land on a couple definitions, a couple important terms.
Yeah, and they can evolve.
They can evolve. And I'm absolutely okay with us having different opinions on whether or not you can survive the ick.
Yeah.
What I'm not okay with is us having different opinions paired with different definitions. It's just too many moving targets.
Yeah.
You know, we need one constant, and then, we
I
can
think that's
ping
fair to
everything
say.
off of that.
I would like folks to comment below whether they've survived the ick. If you want to put your relationship on blast and talk about surviving the ick in your current relationship, I think
Yeah,
that could be
write
really
in.
helpful for us.
Write in or DM us.
Yeah,
That's going to be important.
So let's keep that conversation going. That's all I'd say. Okay. Well, thank you for your participation.
Thanks for listening.
As always, it's been a pleasure.
Bye.